Okay, welcome YouTubers to my first episode of what I'm going to call the non-expert vegan. I decided to kind of make a channel about my own journey with my diet, and as what led to where I am now, ultimately at a vegan diet. And the reason I'm doing this is for basic important reasons. Number one, the health issue that prompted me to go on this diet, and also then beyond that was when I decided to get on to a better diet, how I was going to do it, and that was starting off at least through Purple Carrot, which probably some of you know, just like Blue Apron and Hello Fresh. That's the two that I can think of. Those are some 3 meal plans that I kind of came across that make plant-based diets. So this is about my transformation from my regular Western diet, not so good diet at all, to a vegan diet. And I kind of, again, one of the reasons why I wanted to do this was a suggestion by my mom and her good friend Vedad, who's a chef. He's a good cook, cooks great, takes care of himself, eats well. He kind of suggested to her that maybe I ought to, make public my progress and where it started and ended up. So that starts the major important reason why I did this. My mom last year was diagnosed with breast cancer. So she, last year in September, had a breast removed, had a mastectomy, and as everybody out there knows, cancer seems to be more prevalent than ever. I would have to go check facts on this, but generally speaking, from what I've understood, many more people get cancer than there used to be. So again, I say that in general, and I think some searching about statistics will prove that. So that was the number one, I think, reason why it just kind of tipped me over the edge. It was like, man, one more person getting cancer, friends and now family. And so that just led me more into reading about how sugar feeds cancer cells. And I'm a believer in that. This is an individual journey that you'll have to decide for yourself, but that's a major motivating force behind why I started to do what I did, which was to change my diet. So my mom is now okay, but basically kind of, seeing her diagnosed with that and seeing all the people around me, friends, and hearing about, co-workers and so forth that come down with cancer, it just was now had more importance and had more meaning. So back for me when this started was April 18th of this year. I got my physical, and I had it in my head at that time and before, like I said, starting like last year, that I was gonna start to pursue this diet, stay away from cane sugar, wheat, white flour, as much as I can, if not totally, almost totally. And that ultimately led to getting the meat and dairy out of my life too. I didn't see myself going down that path, but that's what it's led to. And back in April 18th, my cholesterol was 209. And, excuse me, my battery's running a little low, but that's okay. Now, as of October 17th, when I got my recent physical, my overall cholesterol has went down to 167. So it went from 209 to 167. And my blood pressure, if I recall the numbers correctly, went from around 140 over 90 to 118 over 80. And I've been a person that's been on cholesterol for a medication for the better part of the last 10 years. I got off of it last year before kind of undertaking this change in diet, but I was probably going to be put back on medication if it didn't go down. And as I say, it went from 209 in April, on April 17th to now, or April 18th to October 17, went down to 161 because of my changing my diet from the typical Western diet to an alkaline diet, and beyond the alkaline diet to a vegan diet. And so that's what I'm basically going to tackle in this video, just the introduction, and hopefully it helps people, the average person, the non-expert like me, non-expert vegan, which is the name of this channel. Hopefully it motivates them, because I got motivated through the medical reasons of seeing friends and family with cancer, and then what kind of snowballed with that is getting onto a meal plan of Purple Carrot. I think one of the people I noticed through Purple Carrot was Tom Brady. His diet seemed to be directly correlated to his success as an athlete. Whether he's a cheater or not, or whether you like him or not, that's not even why I'm bringing him up. It was just something that I noticed from somebody on the media horizon. And so that, beyond the medical issues of family, kind of, was all rolled into this as to why I thought, hey, this is, some good reasons to go forward with this. And then ultimately, when you start to look into this more and more and do research and navigate through your diet, and I can talk about this in future episodes, it becomes not that difficult to get away from dairy and meat and processed foods, and stay away from wheat and gluten and white flour and cane sugar. All this seems very daunting and hard at first, but little by little when you do it, and then as Dr. Axe would say, by starting replacing these typical conventional GMO ingredients with stuff that's good for you, it's not just that it's good for you, but the stuff also tastes good. So that's what this first video is about. My motivations that stemmed from, my mom coming down with cancer, and the fact that I start reading we all have cancer cells in our body, and our diet plays such a key role in creating a climate for disease or against disease. So another guy you can look up is, Dr. Sebi, who I think unfortunately recently died within the past year. But he lived a pretty long life. I think he died at 81. And you can look him up and do a little research on him. So if you're a person that's starting to think about your diet and maybe going towards a more plant-based diet, that's my total purpose for, doing these types of videos. Because looking on YouTube at the other people that have made videos in the plant-based realm, you have, OKRaw.com, what's his name, John Kohler, I think. You have Fully Christina at Raw Foods. That's Raw Foods is another whole area that's that I haven't completely delved into. I still cook some of my food, but not to get ahead of things. Just an introduction for any of those who want to be motivated and possibly helped by somebody else, just like I am all the time. I can't think of the woman's name, but she also said that she made a great quote about diet and how it relates to your health. And she said, I wish I could think of her name, but she said, if you constantly go through life thinking that your health is totally determined by your genes, then you're gonna make the choice of being a helpless victim. And I never wanted to believe that totally, because recent years back, there were times that I just this past April I weighed 194. Before that I weighed like 197, and I think the most I ever weighed was 207. I'm not a very big guy. I'm like 5'9", So, I'm an average guy. So that weight I thought was okay for me in the 190s, or, like latter 190s. My former doctor even said that my body mass index was fine at that weight. She claimed that, your body just produces, X amount of cholesterol, and that's normal. Well, like I said, I kind of believed that at the time. I don't believe that now. I was sort of buying into the gene thing, which is not entirely true. In fact, I think most of it is overshadowed by diet. So that's another thing that I've lost a lot of weight since April 18th. And that is its own subject. I'm going to cover that maybe in the next episode. We're going to keep this introduction kind of basic. But for future episodes, we'll want to talk about that as you go on possibly more of a plant-based diet, and maybe vegetarian, and maybe vegan, whatever you decide to do for yourself, and you start to lose a lot of weight, you're going to have people around you. I never totally understood this until recently, in these past 6 months or so, but people around you are going to, maybe they're going to treat you differently, especially at first. So that's meant for another episode, about how the losing of the weight affects other people around you and their response to it. So right now, I just want to say that if you're a person that is motivated due to medical reasons, in family like me or friends, if that motivates you enough, that's what was the tipping scale for me. Then I say go for it, and it's been a great journey. Because one of the episodes I want to talk about too is the replacement of, things like dairy and sugars. You replace them with natural things, like milk replaced with almond milk, and on down the line. That's another key subject for an episode. And many of the people on YouTube that have, from John Kohler to Fully Raw Christina, from people like Tom Brady, they've all kind of influenced me. And it's not to put people on any kind of elevated pedestal. It's just to point out that there's examples of regular people, whether they're athletes like Brady, or, somebody like John Kohler or Fully Raw Christina. I think I'm pronouncing his name right, John Kohler. John and Christina, they both had major health issues, according to their stories that I see, is that's what led them. They had major kind of health issues, I believe, and that's what led them down that path. So I just started thinking, with me, the average person, the non-expert, hey, this is going to apply to me, and I should have known this for years. And sure enough, my numbers and my weight reflected that after, so many months. That's what's been a key factor also in continuing my inspiration to go on with this. So I think people like Tom Brady and his wife, from what I see, they're not totally vegan, which is fine. That just goes to show you that whatever your reason, or whoever you maybe look at as an example, you're going to go down your own path. I don't think he's vegan, or he may be considered vegetarian, because I think vegetarian means somebody that still eats animal products, right? That's vegetarians still do that. They can eat eggs, milk, and maybe like salmon. They eat fish. So he's still doing that. I think Brady is a person that I think is still eating like raw wild salmon and duck and so forth like that. I've gone in a different direction. That was kind of a starting point, and now I'm 100% plant-based. I don't eat any animal products, and I can't believe how happy I am doing that. So for anybody out there, I just want to say, if you're watching this, that's great. That's awesome. It's the same thing that I do to watching other videos, and people like creating recipes on this, on your diet. So welcome to the channel that I am calling the Non-Expert Vegan. and hopefully it helps people with any kind of diet that they want to pursue to get away from the typical and not so good at all Western diet. See you next time.